Good morning. Oh my, I was almost late this morning, wasn't I? We're getting ready to leave on a trip, and I was busy with so many things, and I looked up, and it was 10 o'clock, and I'm going, oh no, okay. So, thank you. I'm StampinDeDe, and today is Stampin Thursday, and I'm going to go turn the light on. There. Better. Man, I thought I was ready for today, but now, okay, good. Now, all right. So, Stampin Thursday, and on Stampin Thursday, we just do different things. This week, we are going to look at our Scenic Designer Series paper. And, you know, I'm putting these out. I intended to have them out when we started. But here we go. There's another one. All right. When I love beautiful paper. I absolutely love beautiful paper. And I love the scenic paper. But it's so pretty. I sit and I look at it, and I'm not sure what to do with it. You know, I'm just like, oh, this is too pretty to cut up. So I'll just look at it. Do you do that? Do you do that with your scenic paper? So I started playing around. I had not used my Thoughtful Designs, maybe once. So I started playing around with it, and I thought, you know, I bet I'm not the only one that has that problem. I bet I'm not. So why not just spend some time on this Facebook Live and look at some of the different ways to use our Designer Series paper. If you're watching today, thank you so much for doing that, for watching me. And I hope you enjoy this time. I hope you'll comment and let me know that you're watching. And I do want to say, I said this on my last video, welcome to our new Close to My Heart friends. And so I want you to be encouraged. And I'm excited about the relationship we have now because I'm a scrapbooker, and I haven't done much scrapbooking lately. So I'm excited, and in fact, some of my in the next few months, I'm going to plan some of my Facebook Lives using our products and the products that Stampin' Up! Is bringing over from Close to My Heart to do scrapbook pages. So I'm excited about that. But for today, we are going to look at Designer Series paper. And in particular, we're going to look at Thoughtful Journey. And I showed you on my last Facebook Live, I showed you the sheets that are in Thoughtful Journey. And I'm not going to do that again, but there are some beautiful, beautiful papers in this paper pack. There's also another paper pack that is available online for purchase, and it is the Meandering Meadows, and it also has some beautiful scenery papers in it. So I'm going to show you a few of those, although those are not the ones I used for today. This paper has been around a while, and it also has some beautiful papers in it. Oops, that's the same thing. I didn't pull these out ahead of time, and I should have. But I want you to see just a few of the papers that are in this. I keep pulling out the same things. I think there's different sets of that particular pattern. So I'm just going to pull a few out. I'm not going to pull all of them out, but I want you to see that this is a set too that really does well with some of these cards. Here we go. I'm just going to pull those out so you get an idea of the papers that are in the Meandering Meadow. And let me turn them over because they have some really cool things on the back that are also great to work into your scenery papers, your scenery layouts and cards. All right. I'll set that aside. So, Thoughtful Journey. Here are some of the different cards that I did. First, we'll just start with this card, which I used one of the papers as the background. And I used our Grassy Grove set. I used the die from that set, which just creates a scene around your background paper. And then two of the dies I pulled out to cut a couple of the deer. And I thought, you know, this would be a great layout, a design for men, for a masculine birthday or a masculine get well, or but I needed a thank you card, so that's why I did that. This is using the Unbounded Love die set, and this is a fascinating die set. It does so many different things, and it will be our Dying to Know in June. So coming up soon, I'm going to do the Unbounded Love dies and the stamps. All right, so we've got that one. This one is different, and I wanted something. I wanted to use a combination of colors. I'm not your bright color person. I tend to go toward the natural colors, the neutrals, and the muted colors. So every now and then I step out and I work to use the brighter colors. And this is our new Petunia Pop, and this is our new Peach Pie. So I pulled those colors out of this particular paper. You don't really see the Peach Pie in this, but it is in that sheet of paper. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and use it. I did use the die from Irresistible Blooms to create the focal point here. And then I stamped from Irresistible Blooms, I stamped a flower. Actually, I think this flower was one that, you know, I did my Facebook Live on, oh, my mind just went blank. On, what did I do that on? Help me out. I'm looking. The set with the masks. The Layers of Beauty. Oh my goodness. My mind is on this trip. And we've got to be ready to leave soon. So my mind is whirling with all the things that we need to take. So anyway, the Layers of Beauty, that is one of the little leftover flowers that I used from the Facebook Live, the Dying to Know. So, and the little leaves as well. I just keep them in a little baggie and pull them out, and they matched these flowers, so I popped them on here. So just a different way to create a focal point using your designer series paper, your thoughtful expressions. All right, we've got those two. One more. This is another way to utilize that designer series paper. And the thing that's different about this one, and I'm going to pull this sheet out to show you. Oh, hopefully I can find it. I should have pulled it out. I'm really not usually this disorganized. Really, I'm not. So this is the sheet that I used as the background paper. And now these are my colors. Yeah, these are my colors. I love these colors. So I decided to use the back side of the paper for my flowers because they coordinate so well. So I did end up, and here I should have just pulled this out. I did end up using 2 sheets of it because I stamped my flowers on the back side of the Designer Series paper. And then I used the front side as my scenery. And really, you don't see much of the scenery. It was more the colors that I was going for. The wild wheat and the blues. And to me, it was so, so pretty. So that's another way that you can use your scenic paper is you can even, I could have used this front side, but I did want to keep a front side and use the back. But you could use the front side of any of your scenery paper to cut out other elements to use for your stamped images. All right, and then the last 2 I'm going to show you are a fun fold. Both of these are fun folds that really highlight the Designer Series paper. So this one, I did add a few stems from Painted Lavender. And again, I used the Unbounded Love dies to create my sentiment piece here. And on the inside is just your white so that you can do your message to your friend or loved one. And I did stamp using the same colors, this Cajun Craze and the Mossy Meadow. But aren't those colors pretty in that Designer Series paper? I really liked pulling those colors out. So there's that fun fold. And then there's this fun fold. Now there's several ways to do this fun fold. And this is what you get. So you really get the full effect of your Designer Series paper with this one, and a place to write your greeting. If you wanted to carry your paper all the way across, you could use the back for your greeting. But I liked this. And so this one is what's different. I only had this little scrap left, and I didn't want to cut a different sheet to go all the way across here. So I did it this way. And this fun fold is the one that we're going to make a card with today. So I'm going to demonstrate this. And we're going to put a card together. And I'll give you the dimensions. So we're going to set those aside. And I wanted to, let me show you the Designer Series paper that I decided to use. So I wanted to use this one. And instead of doing what I did with this one, just utilizing the scrap that was left, I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece that goes all the way across so you can see the different look. So I had to have 2 sheets of my paper for that. I do try to utilize as much of my paper as I can. And as you can see, I keep all of my scraps, and I use them. I use them on the inside. I use them on the envelopes to add a little interest to the envelope. Let's see, on this one, it was on this one of these, maybe this one, that I used 2 little strips that I had left. For the inside, it was the same paper, and put a little scripture at the bottom. And I didn't do the inside of all of these. And of course that one already is. Let's see what so for this one, I used a little strip of the paper and stamped the image at the bottom. So different ways that you can use your leftover pieces. All right, so I decided that for this card, I wanted to use fresh freesia. I love picking up that color in the fresh freesia. And so we need to, our designer series paper is, this is for our base. It should be 8.5. Let me make sure I've got it at 8.5. There's a little piece left there. 8.5 by 5.5. There we go. 8.5 by 5.5. And then I'm going to score it at 1 1/4. So I'm going to bring it to 1 1/4 and give it a good score. And then I'm going to bring it to 4 1/4. I'll make sure it's right and give it a good score. There are 2 blades on our trimmer. The dark blade cuts, the lighter blade scores. So I don't need my, so I've got my 2 folds. We'll be cutting some more in a minute. So I'm going to fold it in and use my bone folder to give it a good crease. And then I'm going to fold this piece back. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder. And I'm probably going to use that bone folder several times because I want my card to lay down. All right. Next, I'm going to cut my designer series paper. So the first piece I'm going to cut is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4, this paper is 6 inches long, 6 inch square. So I'm going to cut the 3/4 off of the top because I really want to leave this bottom part, and we still get an array of quarters, an array of colors on the top. So since this is 5 1/4, all of my pieces are going to be 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off. So now we have a 5 1/4 by 6 right now piece of paper. And our first piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now I want to keep these pieces in order. You know what? I'm going to cut this little one first because I'm going to cut this piece from my second sheet. So let's cut the 1 inch. This is 1 by 5 1/4. Okay, I've got it on the 1 inch mark, and I'm going to set it aside because I want to cut these in order. And then I'm going to cut my middle piece. I'm going to cut this piece right here next because it follows the seam. So I'll cut this one, then this one, then this one. All right, and so this one is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. It's 2 3/4, and I'm going to set it right over here. And my last piece is again a 1 by 5 1/4. Now you can see that this was the piece that I had left that I came back and used on this card. It was this little piece. I didn't want to waste it, but I'll set this aside and use it on the envelope or someplace else. And now I'm going to come and cut this piece, which is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So it's just going to blend in. It's just going to blend in. It'll actually be up against this piece. So what I could do is I could put this piece where it goes. Where does it go? Because it was, oh, it's here. I think I'll cut my 2 3/4 from this end. And I need to cut I'll do my 2 3/4 first. I think that'll work well. All right, set that aside. I want to bring this to 5 1/4 and cut my top piece off. Now, I've got this piece ready for the front. So let's go on and start getting these pieces on, because that really is the key to this designer series paper and this card. So I'm going to open it up. And this is my first piece that's going to go right here. So let me get my little lid thing down. Okay. So I'm just going to use some of my Tombow glue, which I have put in a different bottle just for ease. And I'm going to put it right here, leaving a little bit of space, hopefully an equal amount of space on each side. All right, we've got that piece down. And now I'm going to put this piece down. And I'll come back with my Stampin' Seal for that. All right. Let's put another little strip right there. And this one is going to go right here, and I'm going to make sure the bottom lines up, because if the bottom lines up, the top is going to line up. There we go. We've got that one on. We'll see how our seam is flowing. And here we need to make sure we have a 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece of white. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I think I grabbed a scrap, and I think it was 5 1/4. So I need a 2 3/4 piece of white. And that's going to go right here. So I'll use my Stampin' Seal again for that. And I'm going to put it right here. Line it up. Okay. And then my last piece is going to go right here. So it really follows it. I just love that. I love using my scenery paper. And it is going to go right here. There we go. Isn't that nice? And now this one is going to go right here. And see how that blends? Oh, I love it. I love, love, love it. So let me get this one down. Okay. So I'm going to put this one here. Yep. See, it lines up with the bottom. There we go. Now we have a full array of our scenery paper. I love that. So I thought what I would do is come along, and the flowers in here seem to be the Calypso Coral. The nice thing about Stampin' Up's Designer Series papers, and I use this feature all the time, is the colors are listed here that are in your different papers. And at first I had pulled out the Petunia Pop, which is one of the papers, one of the colors listed. But then I got to looking at it, and it just didn't look right. And I looked back at the colors, and I realized Cajun Craze and Calypso Coral are both on here. And that's what I needed to use, was the Calypso Coral. So I'm just going to cut some stems. And I thought I would use the Mossy Meadow, which is also one of the colors listed. And I'm going to use my Layers of Beauty. No, I want to use my Lovely Lavender. Let's see. Or maybe I left it out. No. It's the lavender set. Layers of Beauty. I'm looking. There it is. Painted Lavender. I'm going to use the Painted Lavender dies. See, in this set, there's several leafy dies. Now, if you buy the Unbound or the Thoughtful Journey Designer the bundle, then you will also have some dies similar to this. But I don't have that, and I like these. So I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss, and we're just going to cut a few of these. I want a couple of the green. So I'm going to do that. All right. That's one of them. I need to grab take a pick tool, get these out. I want one more. I want a couple of them. I'm going to do a similar thing to what I did on one of the other papers, on one of the other cards, just to create a little dimension on the front and sort of a focal point. Okay. All right, we've got those two. And now I'm going to use the other die, which is, it's got little, looks like it has little blooms on it. And I just wanted this pop of color. And I'll have to cut this down just a little bit, so it'll fit in my mini right here. I may grab a couple of those. I'm not centering these on top of something stamped, so I really don't have to secure it down. I'm not worried about it slipping off of the stamped image. I'm just cutting a few stems here. There's some of my paper. All right, that's all I'm going to do. Put this away. So handy. So handy. All put my die back over here. I always put my dies back on the metallic sheet because I certainly don't want to use them, to lose them. My mind is twirling around. All right, so I want to put these right in here. Make sure all the little pieces are poked out. Yeah, I think I want it right here, just to add some interest. I do need to poke out one of the little pieces of this. I don't know if I need 2 of these or not. Maybe I do. So what do we think? That doesn't take away from it, does it? Maybe if I do it from the corner and bring it down a little bit. I don't want to take away from this beautiful paper, but I did want to add just a little bit of interest, a focal point. I think that'll work better. I like that better. All right, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to trim these down to the very end. Trim them and trim this one. There we go. All right, I'm going to put this on, just a little glue at the bottom, and I'm going to do it from the corner. Yeah, maybe right there. I'm going to have it tucked in the corner there. And then this one, just a little adhesive at the bottom. Now, it's going to kind of go behind it, I guess. Let's do this. Yeah, it'll go behind it just a little bit. And then this, a little bit of adhesive at the bottom. And we're going to set it right there on top. Okay, I like that. I like the appearance of that. And then you've still got your scenery. This just adds a little bit more to the front. All right. And again, like I said, I crease it, varnish it several times so that it will continue to lay flat. Now, all we need now is a sentiment. So let's do that. Let me get my scraps, my white. Let's see. And I think I'll just do a hello from Irresistible Blooms. I'm just going to do the hello. So grab a block. So I'm using one of our, this is the B block. Hello. And I'll just use black memento ink for this. I'm going to put it right in the center of my scrap because I'm not sure if I'll be able to use one of these with this particular. Let me see if I don't think. Oh, there goes my die. All right, let's see if that fits. I could do that. I could put the hello right up there. Let's see. Let's try this one. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to make it shorter. That's just something I can show you how to do. It's easy to do. We can resize our label dies really easily. So let's do that. We're going to resize this die. So I'll put my number 1 plate, my number 2 plate, which is very, very used. And I'll start this off. And I'm going to move my die all the way to the corner of my word because I want this label just to be the size of hello. So I'm going to center it in the middle, but I'm moving it over to the edge, and now I'll use my tape, and I've shown you this, whoops, where is it? Several times. Oh, where am I? Well, I use, oh, here it is, right in front of me. The Post-it labeling and cover-up tape. And I use it over and over and over again. This one keeps sticking. All right, put my plate on top. Run it through and make our first cut. We're going to make 2 cuts with this. Because I want to make my label shorter. I want it to fit my word. So I'm going to take it out. And now I'm going to move my label down. I'm going to kind of move it around on the until I feel it catch in the edge here. And that's about where I want it. That's about the size I want. So I'm going to secure it down and cut it again. And you'll see that we have a label using this longer die, but the label itself will be much shorter. There we go. There it is. Is that not cool? Using this die, we just made a shorter label. All right. Put my die away. Put my mini cutting emboss away. Okay. And now we're ready to put our label. I could put it there. I could put it here. Let's see what that would do. I kind of like that. Oh, I hate to cover up those flowers at the top. Maybe here. Or here. No, I don't like it up there. I think I'm going to put it right here. And it'll just overlap when you open it up. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, do I want to do it with dimensionals or glue it down? I think I'm going to use dimensionals. We'll see how that works. So I've got my regular dimensionals. So I want to put them right in the middle because our ends are going to lap over a little bit. And I want it right down here. I want my flower to show up here. Let's see. I think that's going to do it. There we go. And one more time, I'm going to burnish this edge. And I can go right under my label because I put my dimensionals in the middle. There we go. All right. We have our card. Now, you could also use ribbon or gems. I'm not gonna, oh, maybe I'll get some gems. I've got some, the purple ones would work really well. I can put my hands on them real quick. Those might work. Those are fresh freesia. I think I want them a little bit darker. Just a little bit. Let's see. Yep. Okay. Those are our choices. The green might work. What do we think? I tend to go toward keeping things the same color, sort of a monochromatic look. I tend to go more toward that. So, with that in mind, I think I'm going to go with these are purple fine shimmer gems. And I think I'm going to go toward the darker one. Yeah, I think I am. So I think I'm going to put one here. Let's see. Maybe here. And maybe right there. How's that? All right. I like that. I like that. And it doesn't add bulk because you've got your sentiment on dimensionals. All right, that's our card. How did we do? Did you enjoy that? Let me know what you think about using a designer series paper this way. Let me bring these back out. And if you will, I'm not going to have time to go to my blog today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have time. So let me just tell you again. The dimensions for this are 8.5 by 5.5. That's your total piece of paper. I have templates that I use. So my template tells me that the large piece, the base, is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 1 1/4 and 4 1/4. And then this piece, this inside piece right here, is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So you're going to need to cut 3/4 of an inch off of your 6 by 6 paper, and then 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. This one is 1 by 5 1/4. It says 1/2, and that's wrong. See, I did my template. I did it different from what the original template was. This is all 5 1/4. And then your other small strip, but if you're going to cut them in order, you're going to cut 1 inch and then 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then 1 inch again by 5 1/4. And then your white piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. So you've got two pieces you're cutting, one from the designer series paper, one from white at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. Actually, you're cutting two from the designer series paper, but you're cutting these three pieces in order so that then these all flow together. Now, I kind of worked it out so that this one kind of flows too. So my extra piece from my extra sheet of 6x6, I tried to work it out to where it matched the flow of the landscape. So I hope that helps. Do a template. I pull my templates out all the time because I'm not good at remembering things. All right. I hope that helps. I don't have time today to go to my blog, and I normally do. Anytime I do a Facebook Live, I go to my blog and I put samples, pictures of samples, but I don't have time to do that today. You have a great weekend, a great week. I will not be doing a Stampin' Thursday next Thursday. I will not be doing that. So, hi, Kay. Thank you. Hi, Tish. Look at you. Good to see you. Well, I hope if you didn't get to watch the whole thing that you will go back and watch it because you will love it. But I appreciate y'all saying something. It's so good to see you. So good to see both of you. I hope you have a blessed weekend and a great week next week. No Stampin' Thursday next week, but then I'll be back the next week. All right. God bless and goodbye.